So P. Diddy was arrested last night in New York at a hotel. The DA discusses the indictment against Sean Diddy Combs. Federal authorities are charging Sean Diddy Combs with racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution according to the Unsealed indictment against him. Now here are the charges outlined by the DA against Sean Diddy Combs.
During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly. Anyone with information can call 1-877-4-HSI-TIP. I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York. They have been with us since day one and have worked tirelessly on this investigation. They will continue to be invaluable partners to us. I also want to thank the incredible agents and analysts from SDNY who have also provided tremendous assistance on this case. I'm deeply grateful for their continued work. And finally, I want to thank the outstanding career prosecutors from SDNY who are handling this case. Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson, Chrissy Slavic, Madison Smeisler, and Mitzi Steiner, and their supervisors, Jamie Backleeper and Jacqueline Kelly.
As you come onto the channel, please don't forget to hit that like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Let's continue.
They are members of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division. We created the Civil Rights Unit when I became U.S. Attorney. I am deeply proud of their work on this and so many other cases. I'll now take some questions.
Caricatures.
So Fox 5's programming was interrupted so they can bring us the footage. The DA made a statement concerning the charges, the unsealed indictment, what was in it, and now questions are being asked by reporters. Let's take a listen.
Ersky, ABC.
Thanks, Nick. Damien, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene? How many women were victimized by Sean Combs, and how many others were involved?
Look, our investigation is ongoing. We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized by the defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today. And we are committed to making sure that justice is done. Next question.
Thank you. Julia Ainsley, NBC.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Janet Fisher, Newsday.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
Is one more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very serious crime, and it carries significant penalties.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. Two questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed, which contains more details than the indictment does at various points, but we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him. Next question.
Juliette Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them, and they were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it.
I believe he was talking about that Cassie video, the hotel incident in the hallway.
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
Thank you. John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residence? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts, along with magazines, with ammunition loaded in them. So, some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
Sean Diddy Combs
So we are concerned with
tonight
anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case, and I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that have been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So
with the decision to pursue what we believe is
I'm
an
not going to get into
unjust prosecution
the staffing. I
of Mr.
will
Combs
say that
by
this
the
team,
U.S.
this
Attorney's
group
Office, but they
of
say
AUSA
John
is
Diddy
incredible.
Combs is cooperating with the
The group has
investigation.
been working
His lawyer
on this
points
case
out
around the
that Diddy
clock,
actually went to New
and
York
they've had their hands
last
full.
week in anticipation
Gus
of these
Rosendale,
charges. In the
NBC
breaking news tonight,
Good
Diddy
morning, sir.
reportedly
Combs' attorney
arrested
said that his
in a
client has been
hotel in
cooperative with
Manhattan.
investigators. He
Specific
said that this
charges
morning. I was wondering
not
if you
clear,
would have a
but it
reaction to
appears
that.
to be part of this ongoing investigation.
As you come onto the
As we get
page,
more
kindly
details,
hit the
we'll
like
bring them to
bell
you here
and
on Local News
subscribe
Live.
to
For
the
now,
channel
we'll
if you
turn back
haven't
to
done so
regularly
as yet.
scheduled programming.
The
Diddy
VA is
Combs was
furthering
arrested in the lobby
his
of a hotel in
explanation
Manhattan on
of
Monday, September
the
16th,
indictment
in the wake
that
of
was
numerous
brought
allegations of
against P.
sexual
Diddy
abuse and
or
trafficking.
Sean
Combs had been
Diddy.
accused of abusive behavior in at least 9 lawsuits as of August 2024.
Let me just say
Additional
this. I think
details
that,
about the specific
generally,
allegations in his arrest
and
were not
with increasing
immediately available.
frequency, the
In
word
response to the arrest,
cooperative or
Combs' lawyer
cooperating
Mark
has
Agnifilo shared a
taken
statement
on
to Vulture.
tremendous
We are
elasticity
disappointed with the decision
and
to
no
pursue
longer
what we
really
believe is an
bears
unjust
any relation
prosecution
to
of
what,
Mr. Combs by the
word
U.S.
means when we use
Attorney's
it,
Office.
in a very
Sean
specific context.
Diddy
So,
Combs is a music icon,
responding to
self-made
lawful
entrepreneur,
process,
loving family man, and
and the
proven
like,
philanthropist who has
does
spent
not
the last
qualify
30
as
years building an
cooperation
empire,
when we
adoring
use
his
that
children,
term
and
here.
working to uplift the black
Thanks, Zach.
community.
AP.
He is an imperfect person, but
Thanks.
he is not a criminal.
To that end,
To his credit,
was there
Mr.
any discussion of
Combs
Mr.
has been
Combs
nothing but
surrendering? I understand
cooperative
he
with this
was
investigation,
taken
and he
into custody at a
voluntarily
hotel in
relocated to
Manhattan
New York last
night,
week in
and maybe
anticipation of
that
these
wasn't
charges.
the plan. Can you elaborate
Please
on
reserve
how
your
that came
judgment
about and
until
why
you
that
have
was?
all the facts.
I'm not going to be able to get into any
These
sort
are
of
the acts of an
operational,
innocent man with nothing to
details as
hide,
how
and he
was
looks
taken into
forward to
custody
clearing
and
his
when,
name in court.
He is in custody right now.
Homeland
He will be appearing in
Security
court later today.
investigation,
Was there any
which
discussion of him
routinely
surrendering?
probes sex trafficking
Given, they
allegations,
claim he's
raided
cooperating.
Combs' homes in
I'm not
Los
gonna get
Angeles
get
and
into law
Miami in
enforcement
March
tactics,
2024's
or
claims against the
operations.
hip-hop mogul continue to grow. During the searches, Combs was at the Opa-locka Executive Airport in South Florida, where federal officers questioned him.
I can't get into the
During
charging
this
decision.
encounter,
It is very
Brendan
meaningful
Hall,
to
a
us
former
that
college
weapons
basketball, was
were
arrested by
possessed,
local police for
as
suspected
we allege in
cocaine
the
and marijuana
indictment.
possession, USA Today reported.
Part of the reason why this
Hall has been
conduct was
accused
so,
of acting as Combs' drug mule in civil filings.
pervasive and
Scrutiny of
and
Diddy
harmful
started
was
to
because
unfold on November
victims
16,
and others
2023.
didn't necessarily feel
Cassie,
comfortable,
Diddy's ex-girlfriend,
denying
filed a
him
bombshell
his
federal
wishes,
lawsuit
as we
on that
allege,
day, accusing him of
because
rape and a
the
decade of
presence
abuse,
of
beginning when she was just 19.
I should leave it there.
The singer, who was signed to Diddy's
Also,
label,
guys,
said that he
I'm
wielded
wondering
complete
if
control
some of
over her
those
life, such as her
firearms
apartment,
were
clothing, medical records, and car.
registered.
Diddy
I
also
think
went
maybe
after
that's
rapper Kid
why
Cudi,
there's
who
such
went
an
out with
alarm
Cassie during a rough patch
on
in
the
her and Diddy's
firearms in
relationship, the lawsuit
DA's
claims.
office. I'm
One day
wondering
after
if
Cassie sued Diddy,
Diddy
they
had
settled out of
registered
court.
all the firearms
But Cassie's
or
claims
just
didn't
some,
just go away.
because that's
On May 17th,
serious.
disturbing
If they weren't
surveillance video
registered, let's
obtained by
continue.
CNN showed Diddy physically
Last
attacking
question,
Cassie at a hotel in
Jameson.
2016. He apologized 2 days later on
Thank you.
Instagram, claiming
Given
he
that
was
he's the sole
truly sorry
defendant
for
in this
attacking
case,
her.
and that you allege he's part of a
Federal
conspiracy that
authorities,
involves members of
understandably,
his
pay
companies.
particular
Do you
attention to
dispute the
allegations
superseding
involving
indictment?
minors, and there are 2 allegations that could
bring
particularly
allegations
imperil
against,
him as proceedings
other
progress.
members of his companies
Liza
or
Gardner
other
sued Diddy
co-conspirators
on
as well?
November 23,
Again, I can't take
2023,
anything off the
alleging
table.
that Diddy
Anything
and
is
Aaron
possible.
Hall
Our
forced the
investigation is
16-year-old
very
to have
active
sex
and
with them without
ongoing.
consent.
And I think a lot of you who cover
Gardner's
this
suit
office
states that
know
she met the
when we
duo at a
say
record
such
release
things,
event.
that
Following a
developments,
post-event dinner, Diddy
are
invited her
certainly
and her friend to
foreseeable,
Hall's
but I
apartment for an
cannot predict them sitting
after-party.
here today.
There,
All right.
Diddy
So
coerced
that was the
her into
DA
sex.
in New York
While she
discussing
was
the
dressing,
indictment,
Hall then burst into the room and forced
unsealed
her into
indictment.
sex.
Now, I wanna
One
hear
day
what
after the abuse,
TMZ
Gardner claims that
Harvey
Diddy came to her house and then
Levin have to
assaulted her
say.
until she was
So I'm gonna
unconscious.
pull up his
After
reaction
being
for an
violently and
explanation.
statutorily raped
Some
by
breaking
Combs and
news,
Aaron Hall,
TMZ reporting
Ms.
that Sean Diddy Combs is
Gardner's
now a
life has
criminal
been
defendant
overwhelmed by
in a
depression,
sex
post-traumatic
trafficking,
stress disorder,
racketeering,
and strained
kidnapping case
relationship with
after a
men, the
grand
suit
jury
claims.
indicted.
A December
Fox
2nd,
11 Los
2023
Angeles
lawsuit,
brought this
filed by a
particular
Jane Doe,
video
claims that Diddy and a
footage
former
of
Bad Boys
Harvey
Records president
Levin.
Harv Pierre
And
raped her when she
kidnapping
was just 17 and enrolled in the
After a
11th
grand
grade.
jury indicted him.
Doe claims
bring
that
in
she met
founder and
Pierre at a
executive
Detroit
producer of
lounge and that the
TMZ,
music
Harvey
honcho told her
Levin,
that
for
he
more
was
on this.
best
Harvey,
friends
we are
with
expecting
Diddy.
some sort of news conference.
She alleges
I
that
believe
Diddy
in less than
convinced
an
her to
hour
ride on a
from New
private
York.
jet,
What are you hearing
him,
so
Pierre,
far?
and another accused
Melvin
abuser
just
to go to his
mentioned,
New York City studio.
A few of
When
the
she arrived,
allegations.
Combs,
There
Pierre,
are so
and his
many more.
associates got the teen
We are
girl high and
talking,
drunk and
as you
then
said, sex
gang raped
trafficking,
her per the lawsuit.
prostitution,
She claims that Diddy looked on as a third perpetrator, raped her, and that Pierre then attacked her. The suit says.
Arson, bribery,
Combs and Pierre deny her
drug
allegations.
charges, including
Sean,
during
Diddy
the raids,
Combs,
they found
arrested in Manhattan.
Oxy, GHB,
By
ketamine,
Victoria Becky
cocaine,
Empis, who writes about
MDMA.
courts and crime
They
for
found
Vulture and other outlets.
AR-15s.
Sean,
There
Diddy,
is clear
Combs arrested in
reference
New York
in this
after grand jury indictment.
To that Cassie video where she was brutally beaten at the Century City Hotel by Diddy in March of 2016. They mentioned that prominently in this indictment. Also, they mentioned these freak-off parties, these sex parties that Diddy had, and they say that he had pressured women into having sex with male commercial sex workers, freak-off parties, which they say he often recorded. So there are just a variety of charges here. His lawyer says not only is Diddy not guilty, his lawyer says he's innocent when he walked into the courtroom. And like you said, the U.S. attorney is going to be laying this out at 8:30 our time in a news conference.
Well, the attorney may say that he's innocent, but it's hard to disavow a video that we all saw with him assaulting Cassie, isn't it?
The arson charge that you mentioned, is that in any way connected to the when he allegedly blew up someone's car in a driveway?
The specific charges it could be the only thing they reference with respect to arson is that it occurred in California.
Well, we know the only arson
believe is an
person
unjust
that was
prosecution
mentioned
of Mr. Combs
prior
by
to
the
this
U.S. Attorney's
indictment
Office.
was
But
Kid
they say
Cudi when he
John
had
Diddy
an
Combs is
altercation with P.
cooperating with the
Diddy.
investigation. His
We
lawyer
don't
points
know,
out that Diddy
but it well
actually
could be.
went to New York
TMZ
last
also
week
reporting on a
in
cryptic post
anticipation
from Aubrey
of these
O'Day, who
charges.
was a
So
member
again, the
of
breaking
Identity
news
Kane,
tonight,
which is one of the pop
Diddy
groups that
reportedly
Diddy
arrested
put
in
together.
a hotel in Manhattan.
Yeah, I don't know,
Specific
Melvin, that
charges
it's cryptic.
not
I mean,
clear, but it
we
appears to be
interviewed
part
her
of this
for
ongoing
our documentary,
investigation. As we get more
and
details, we'll bring them to you here on
she
Local News
is
Live. For now, we return you back to
thrilled
regularly
that
scheduled
this
programming.
indictment came down
Sean,
and
Diddy,
said more
Combs
to
was
come,
arrested in the
and
lobby
there
of a
would be
hotel in
women
Manhattan
coming
on Monday,
forward.
September
She has
16th,
spoken
in the
with
wake
some
of
of
numerous
them,
allegations of
and
sexual abuse
this
and
is a
trafficking.
day
Combs
she has
had been
waiting
accused of
for
abusive
many
behavior
years.
in at least
I know
9
it's so
lawsuits as of
early in
August
this, but
2024.
given the heaviness of
Additional
the charges
details about
and
the
how
specific
many
allegations in
charges,
his arrest were
federal
not
charges
immediately
he's
available.
facing. What does this mean
In
for
response
possible
to the
jail
arrest,
time?
Combs' lawyer Mark
Decades,
Agnifilo shared a
decades
statement to
and
Vulture.
decades in
We are
prison.
disappointed with the decision to
Right
pursue
now,
what we
the
believe
big
is an
issue
unjust
will he get
prosecution of
bail?
Mr.
We're
Combs by the
we're
U.S.
told he has surrendered
Attorney's Office.
his passport.
Sean,
And
Diddy, Combs is a
I think
music
they're doing
icon,
that to
self-made
show he's not a
entrepreneur,
flight risk
loving family
because they're
man,
trying to
and
get him
proven
bail.
philanthropist
We
who
will
has
see.
spent the last
Even
30
his
years building
attorney,
an
I believe,
empire,
said that,
adoring
that
his
Diddy
children,
had
and
gone
working
to
to
New
uplift
York
the black
knowing
community.
that this was coming.
He is an imperfect person,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
he
it
is
was
not a
really
criminal.
clear
To his
this
credit,
was coming. Now, we
Mr.
were told
Combs has been nothing but
that
cooperative
this
with
was
this
supposed to
investigation,
happen
and he
today.
voluntarily
And for
relocated to
some
New York last
reason,
week in
the feds
anticipation of these
accelerated
charges.
it and did it last night.
Please reserve your
in
judgment until you
Midtown
have all the
Manhattan.
facts.
I don't know
These are
whether
the
they
acts of an
found out
innocent
he
man
was
with
gonna
nothing
leave
to hide,
or what,
and he looks
but
forward to
we're
clearing
told
his
it
name
was
in
supposed
court.
to happen today.
Homeland
And what about the
Security
implications
investigations,
for
which
what's at
routinely
stake
probe
here in the
sex
state of
trafficking
California?
allegations, raided Combs' homes in Los Angeles and
Well, I
Miami
would
in March
say they did
2024
it
as claims
prior
against
to
the hip-hop
when
mogul
it was
continued to
supposed to
grow.
go down
During the
because,
searches,
like
Combs was at the
Harvey
Okalaka
Levine
Executive
said,
Airport in South
he was
Florida,
told that it
where
was going to
federal
go down
officers
today.
questioned him.
Now, if he
During
was
this
told that,
encounter,
I'm sure
Brendan
other people
Paul,
were told,
a former college
told that
basketball,
also.
was arrested
And
by
it's
local police for
just to me
suspected
the element
cocaine and
of
marijuana
surprise.
possession, USA
Since
Today
Diddy
reported.
knew that they were going to arrest
Paul
him
has been
today,
accused of
I'm
acting
sure
as
he
Combs'
turned
drug mule in
himself
civil
in,
filings.
but they weren't sure.
Scrutiny of Diddy
The
started
DA's
to
office
unfold on
wasn't
November
sure
16,
whether he was going to turn
2023.
himself in
Cassie,
or flee the
Diddy's
country
ex-girlfriend,
because
filed
he
a
knew he
bombshell
was going to
federal
get
lawsuit
arrested
on that
today.
day, accusing him
And
of rape and
since
a
he's a
decade of abuse,
billionaire, a
beginning
man
when she
of
was
many
just 19.
means, he could have
The
fled to
singer,
Bali,
who was signed
like
to
Russell
Diddy's label,
Simmons.
said that he wielded
And
complete control
I'm sure
over her
he
life,
has,
such as her apartment, clothing,
taken
medical
some of that
records,
money out
and
of this
car.
country already.
Diddy also
So
went after
instead of
rapper
them
Kid
having
Cudi,
egg on
who
their
went out
face,
with
they
Cassie
arrested
during
him
a rough patch
early
in her and Diddy's
yesterday,
relationship,
last
the
night
lawsuit
instead of
claims.
today. Diddy's
One day
lawyer
after
said that
Cassie
he
sued Diddy, they
volunteered
settled out of court.
to go to New York
But
because
Cassie's
he knew the
claims
arrest
didn't
was
just
coming,
go
so
away.
he knew it was coming
On May
today.
17th,
As far
disturbing
as I'm
surveillance
concerned, if
video
he was a
obtained by
flight
CNN
risk,
showed Diddy
he could have
physically
left the
attacking
country and
Cassie at a
not
hotel
surrendered
in
his
2016.
passport.
He apologized
So,
2
I
days later
guess
on Instagram,
he
claiming he
thinks
was
he can
truly
beat the
sorry
charge,
for
or
attacking her.
maybe,
Federal
just maybe,
authorities,
he has
understandably,
surrendered,
pay
thrown in the
particular
towel, and
attention
is
to
ready to do the
allegations involving
time.
minors, and
Which,
there are two
like Harvey
allegations that could
Levine said,
particularly
could be
imperil him as
decades. In
proceedings
my book, he's
progress.
going to get what R.
Liza
Kelly
Gardner
got.
sued Diddy on November 23, 2023,
It's a
alleging
good
that Diddy and
question
Aaron
whether
Hall forced the
California
16-year-old
would
to have
file
sex with them
charges.
without
I don't have
consent.
the answer to that. I have no
Gardner's
idea
suit states that she met
whether
the
the
duo at a
DA
record
is
release
looking at
event.
that.
Following a
But I will
post-event
tell
dinner,
you, when
Diddy
you read
invited
this
her and her friend to
indictment,
Hall's apartment for an after-party.
They threw in
There,
everything,
Diddy
including
coerced
the
her
kitchen
into
sink.
sex.
In
While
this
she was
indictment,
dressing,
these charges
Hall then
and
burst
the
into the
allegations
room
go
and
back
forced her into
decades,
sex.
even back
One
to the
day
90s,
after the abuse,
abuse. Gardner claims that Diddy came to her house and then assaulted her until she was unconscious. After being violently and statutorily raped by Combs and Aaron Hall, Ms.
And again, they lay
Gardner's
out,
life has been overwhelmed by
bribery
depression,
and all
post-traumatic
sorts of
stress disorder,
allegations,
and strained
some of which
relationship with
involve
men, the
violence
suit
toward
claims.
women,
A December
but
2nd, 2023
also
lawsuit
money.
filed by a Jane Doe
They say
claims that
this
Diddy
has
and a
been
former Bad Boys Records president Harv Pierre raped her
criminal
when she was
enterprise.
just
That's
17 and enrolled in the
essentially what they're
11th grade.
Which brings to
Doe
mind
claims that
the
she met
issue of
Pierre at a
perhaps
Detroit lounge and
statute
that
of
the music
limitations,
honcho told her
especially
that he
considering
was
some of these
best
charges can
friends
get a little bit
with
murky.
Diddy. She alleges that Diddy convinced her
we
to
don't
ride on
know
a private
the
jet
specific
with him,
dates of
Pierre,
what
and
they're
another
alleging.
accused abuser
I would
to go to
assume
his New York
that
City studio.
prosecutors have
When she
calculated
arrived,
that in
Combs,
the
Pierre,
indictment
and his
because,
associates got the teen girl high and drunk and then
Guys, don't
gang
forget to
raped
hit the
her
like bell
for the
and subscribe
lawsuit.
to the channel
She claims
if
that
you
Diddy
haven't
looked
done
on as
so
a
as
third
yet. Thank you.
perpetrator, raped her, and that Pierre then attacked her, the suit
if the
says.
U.S. attorney would
Combs and
file
Pierre denied
charges
her
past
allegations.
the statute
Sean
it could
Diddy
happen.
Combs,
And
arrested
maybe
in
there's
Manhattan.
an argument on both
By
sides
Victoria
on some of it.
Beckiampus, who writes
but
about courts and crime for
they
Vulture and
seem
other
pretty
outlets.
confident that
Sean
they're buttoned
Diddy
up.
Combs
What's been the
arrested
most
in New York after
surprising,
grand jury indictment.
piece of information that you've learned, Harvey?
You know, I was talking to Charles about this just a couple of minutes ago. And when you look at this Cassie video and how out in the open it was, I mean, it was in a hotel hallway, but it was in March of 2016. Yet this didn't come out until a few months ago. And that may speak to the power of Diddy.
Yeah.
That nobody would talk about this. Remember, he encircled himself with 1,000 big celebrities. And he was kind of the sun in the middle of all of that, with various parties, the white parties he had, and, you know,
This comes
crossing
after a grand
Diddy
jury
was
indictment.
a
source told
dicey
CNN
thing to
that
do.
Combs was
And
arrested
so
again tonight
we were
in a
talking
Manhattan
just
hotel
about
and is
how
now being
flagrant the Cassie
processed
video was,
by
yet
police.
it didn't
Of course,
come
this all
out
comes
a
after
couple months
Combs
ago.
became the
But then you
target
also
of a
consider what you were
months-long
talking about this
sex
just earlier,
trafficking
the
probe
number
by
of
the
people
Homeland
who were there to
Security
insulate him and to protect
Investigations
him. What would be
after
the
his
accountability
homes
there?
were
Can we
raided,
expect
you'll
some more
recall,
arrests
in
on the way?
Miami and
We don't
Los
know.
Angeles.
I mean,
We
I
don't
have
know
no
the
idea.
specific charges
I have
that
no
are
idea if
tied
they're
to
looking at
this
anybody
arrest
else.
tonight in New York.
But
We did get a
the
statement from
clear
an
target
attorney
here
for
was Diddy.
Combs,
Now,
who
there's
said
so many
that
people
they're
who
disappointed
should
with
be
the
shaking
decision to
their boots
pursue
right
what we
now.
believe is an
They should be very
unjust
concerned, like
prosecution
the
of
one
Mr. Combs by the U.S.
who
Attorney's Office.
were
But
his
they say
co-conspirators.
John Diddy Combs is
They said
cooperating
his
with the
son, one of his
investigation.
sons
His
were
lawyer
on
points
one of
out
those
that Diddy
tapes.
actually went to
He
New
should
York
be worried.
last week
Now,
in
I'm wondering if
anticipation
these women
of
in
these
his
charges.
life,
So in
like
the breaking
Lisa
news
Hilton,
tonight, Diddy
Mary
reportedly
J. Blige,
arrested
some of these
in
women
a
are
hotel
now going to
in
speak up
Manhattan.
because for
Specific
years they kept
charges
quiet and
not
they knew
clear,
what was going
but it
on.
appears to be
Allegedly.
part of this ongoing
Well,
investigation. As we
Harvey
get more
Levine
details, we'll bring them
said
to you here
he
on
don't
Local News
know
Live.
if
For
other
now,
arrests are
we'll
on the
turn
way.
you
The
back to
DA
regularly
said he
scheduled
cannot
programming.
talk about
Sean
it.
Diddy
But I
Combs was
say
arrested in the
more
lobby
arrests
of a
are on the
hotel
way.
in
Why?
Manhattan on
Because
Monday,
the
September
DA
16th,
clearly
in the wake
pointed
of
out
numerous
that this
allegations
was
of sexual abuse and trafficking.
a
Combs had been accused of
conspiracy
abusive
group.
behavior in at least
This is
9
how they
lawsuits as of
operated for
August
years.
2024.
People in Diddy's
Additional
camp
details about the
was
specific
pretty much
allegations in his arrest were not
co-conspirators.
immediately
So
available.
I would
In
think
response to the arrest,
that more
Combs'
arrests are
lawyer
coming.
Mark
But he was
Agnabilo
the
shared a
main one. They
statement to
wanted to
Vulture.
bring him down
We are
first,
disappointed with
and
the
then the
decision
rest
to
will
pursue what we
follow,
believe
and
is
the
an
rest
unjust
will talk.
prosecution of Mr.
That was Fox 11
Combs
Los
by the
Angeles
US
News interviewing
Attorney's Office.
Harvey Levin.
Sean Diddy
was just
Combs
my
is a music
commentary
icon,
on
self-made
what I
entrepreneur,
heard.
loving
Now,
family man,
guys, if
and
you
proven
have
philanthropist
a
who has
comment,
spent the
you
last
have
30
a
years
thought,
building an
you
empire,
want some
adoring his
input
children,
into
and
this
working
matter,
to
drop your
uplift the
comments
black
in the
community.
comment section. Let me know what you
He
think.
is an imperfect
I
person,
can't
but he
help
is
but
not a
wonder
criminal.
what
To his
Jay-Z
credit,
is thinking
Mr.
about right now,
Combs
because
has been
they used to
nothing
run
but
in the same
cooperative with this
circles, as far as I
investigation, and he
know.
voluntarily
Man, oh
relocated
man, I
to
know
New York
Jaguar
last
Wright
week in
is
anticipation of these
rejoicing
charges.
because for years now she's been
Please
talking
reserve your
about P.
judgment until
Diddy
you have all
getting
the facts.
arrested, and she is looking
These are the
forward to
acts of
that
an
day.
innocent man with
She's probably
nothing.
in New York right now. P. Diddy is finally in jail. This is what a woman's scorn can do, because if it wasn't for Cassie, none of this would have came out. If she did not file that lawsuit and they settled the day after out of court, just initiating everybody else to come forward. She was the catalyst that started everything, because let's face it, everybody else was too scared of Diddy because he wielded that power. But now he's been taken down. I'm sure we're going to be hearing from people like Mace and Gene Deal. Guys, drop your comments. I'm over and out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. And don't forget to hit a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so this time before you leave. Thank you for watching.